And so in 1971, head of the animation department, Willie Reitherman, and some others got together and said, well, let's take advantage of these older gentlemen so they can pass on their knowledge to a younger group of artists that could perhaps work their way into being animators. Because you can't go in there and literally, you're just a young coming out, where you coming out of Kellogg's, or you're coming off the streets like myself. I mean, you just can't come in there and do Frank Thomas, Ollie Johnson, no call animation. After that, it takes a while to sort of, to get the knowledge to be able to do what those gentlemen have been doing for the cream of the crop for last 40 some odd years, making the best animation in the world. But Mr. McKim, he told the class one night that about the training program, and if anybody was interested. And I remember the conversation that night from the classroom to the parking lot was that I'm not going to Disney. They don't pay anything. And literally, it was true. They paid very little to their younger guys, but in the animation industry. But the big, what they call the 9-0 men, they were making big bucks. But everybody else was sort of it wasn't that great. Plus, animation was not what it is today. We look at all kinds of expressions of animation, Japanese anime, and everybody's getting on the bandwagon doing animation, and it's going to CGI now. But at the time, Disney was like the only thing on the block. You had Ralph Bakshi doing a thing every once in a while. A couple of studios, and for Hanna-Barbera was doing the Flintstones and the limited animation for basically for kids. But as far as feature length animation, it was very very lean. And Disney would do a picture like once every 3 years. They would release a picture once every 3 or 4 years. And so outside of Disney doing the animation, it wasn't really very
lucrative,
acceptable. So that was the kind of world that I entered into. And so while most of all the students said no, I said yes, Mr. McKim, get me an appointment. So he set me up with an interview with Eric Larson, who was heading up the animation department, because Eric had gone literally worldwide to try to find people that perhaps could work their way into animation. Now, I didn't have any animation experience. And my first interview with Eric, he looked at my portfolio, which was geared towards illustration, really slick, finished illustrations that would, like I said, be for illustration purposes. And Eric said, that's okay, Ron, but what we want to see is quick sketch. Lives, from animals and humans in motion. That's what we want to see. I didn't include any of that in my portfolio because I had no idea what an animator was, what an animator did. But literally, I hadn't seen an animated feature probably since I was 25. So probably since I was like 9 or 10 years old. Cartoons are kids. I'm growing up. I'm a teenager. I didn't grow up with wanting to. I mean, there's people who are in the industry who wanted to be animators since the time that they saw their first animation at 4 or 5 years old. They'd grown up with that passion and had it fulfilled working at Disney. I didn't have any of that. I just didn't. It was nothing on the radar. Nothing back in the back of my mind. I just want to do something more creative. And so when Eric told me that that's what they were looking for, I said, wow, when I was in high school, Monrovia High School, my junior year in high school, I got kicked out of art class. And before I got kicked out of art class, the instructor, Miss Dorothy Clemens, she encouraged the class to carry a sketchbook. And I took her advice. And I have been carrying sketchbooks since high school. And I said my junior year, that was 67. I graduated in 68. So I've been carrying sketchbooks since 67. This is like, 70, 74. So I had, lots of sketchbooks. And so I just went home, got 3 sketchbooks, dropped them off at the guard gate, addressed to Eric Larson. And within the week, he had called and said I could start the trainee program anytime I wanted, based on my quick sketches, what he saw in my quick sketches, the potential. Because, and not knowing anything about animation, not a thing. And I think the original question you start off with, what was my first day like? When I say a blank piece of paper, I was literally a blank piece of paper. Everything I learned starting that first day. Lines that move on paper, how to flip paper, and how to, get things to literally, have the illusion of movement.
Mm-hmm.
It was all really extremely fascinating and eye-opening and a total learning experience from day one. I'm still learning as an artist. You never, learn it all. You're always growing. And that first day was literally, starting to pour the water into the container as far as animation knowledge, because I knew nothing. They were in the trainee program. Glenn Keane was in there. He had been there. He got there about 6 months before I got there. And Glenn had come from Cal Arts, so they have an animation program there. So he had a tremendous amount of experience coming in. I had no experience. And so you have the spectrum of people in between there, because they were just looking for artists that they could perhaps train to be animators, because animation wasn't about drawing, because they're not going to teach how to draw. You have to come in with that natural God-given ability to be able to draw. What they were going to do was teach you how to act, timing, drawing on model, drawing solid drawings, good drawings, storytelling drawings. And it's all about storytelling and getting those concepts. And so the training program lasted 4 weeks. And in those 4 weeks, you were to do a little test, a little rough pencil test. A sheet maybe 2 or 3 seconds long, at the most. And some people who had more experience, could do something longer and a little bit more sophisticated. Mine was just really, really rough, really, really bare bones. And at the end of 4 weeks, they take that training from Eric Larson. They had John Lounsbury come in and do talks. Mark Davis would come in and do talks. They had all these great animators come in after work and give us talks and encourage us to carry a sketchbook, which I didn't need much encouragement to do that. But they were always talking about sharpen yourself to be able to draw, so that drawing will not hinder you from your storytelling. Mm-hmm. It's all about storytelling, literally, because you go to work, and we go see Charlie Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy shorts, where there these silence, where body language. They were telling a story with body language and with facial expressions. And that was what we were studying, because that was so much a part of the performance of the characters that you're working on. And after 4 weeks, like I said, they showed that test to the review board of seasoned animators and some of the executives. And it's like sink or swim. You either are gonna stick out, because they didn't hire you as animators; they hired you as trainees. Mm-hmm. They could let you go at any time. And going through the trainee program was not a given. Just because you got in the trainee program, there's no guarantee that you were going to be hired by Disney.
Yeah.
And so it was a big gamble on my part, with a wife, 2 kids, and staying with my mom, right? And wanting to, yeah. I mean, you laugh at it now, but yeah, that was a situation, and so for me to give up a sure thing at Honeywell, doing block diagrams and flight flow charts to go to Disney, which is really iffy. And the pay was, it was no joke. It was pretty low. I think it was like $144 a week, something like that. This like the 70. But I mean that was the chance I took
Yeah.
to be able to do something more creative. And I never went to bed, thinking, "Oh man, they might keep me out here." It was just a really fun learning experience, like a kid in Disneyland. Just looking all, wide-eyed, and looking, taking in all the sights. And there was a ton of stuff to learn. Frank Thomas, Ali Johnson, I didn't know these individuals. There were people there who had come in and wanted to be animators all their life, and they're bug-eyed when they see Frank walking down the hall. You know, yeah, Frank, I mean, it's just, I mean, I didn't know these guys. I mean, I didn't grow up with that type of background, but they were just nice guys. Frank, Ali, Mill, this, and everybody's on a first name basis. So he didn't go around Mr. So and so, Mr. Everybody, hi Ron, hi Mill, hi Ali, you know, and then they're very friendly guys. So again, they were really open about passing on their information. But but the trainees, like I said, there was probably about a dozen of us up on the second floor of the animation building, taking all these training. Eric would organize speakers and give us lectures and give us just really opportunities to learn. And while we were working on our rough pencil test, we take them in and show them to Eric, and Eric could sit at his desk, and you take our drawings, and he put a piece of paper over those drawings, and he show you how it's supposed to be done. You want to get some silhouette value in there. You want to move the body and push it in this direction or pull it in that direction, and all the great stuff that looking over his shoulder, getting some just really pointers, literally of how to animate.